Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. It's good for you to see me, right? I mean, that's what we're really talking about here. Was boots on the ground yesterday at Miami Heat practice. It was an interesting boots day. This is going to be an interesting boots week for the Miami Heat, to be honest with you, because it's a light schedule. It's so funny. Like, this has been such a whirlwind for your Miami Heat. It feels like, you got weekend back-to-backs and every other day, and there's been on the road, and now they've had a homestand. The homestand's kind of got uneven because you've had the injuries. You're bringing back Victor Oladipo. You're bringing back Markieff Morris. And it's like this week is so interesting because it's just like, all right, well, you got a couple days off until the Pistons game. Don't lose to that team. And then you got a couple more days off, and then you take on the Thunder. Don't lose to that team. And then after you take on the Thunder, you go and take on the Philadelphia 76ers on Monday. So it's an interesting thing in that, like, you're looking at this and you're like, okay, they had a game on Saturday and it was 2 days off. Now we got a game coming up on Tuesday, then on Friday, and then all of a sudden back to Monday. So they have a rarity here where it's like 2 days off between 3 games. It's just, you don't get that, really, it feels like, in the NBA. And, plenty of time for them to kind of recalibrate, rest up. I was talking yesterday about Jimmy Butler, and I'm a little bit concerned about the toe thing. I do think that he is going to end up is going to end up out there. So I think he'll be he was out there. I didn't get to see him practice, but I saw him yesterday. He was doing some work on the other end of the court. The only guy I believe who didn't practice yesterday, according to Erik Spoelstra, was Caleb Martin, who's still working his way back. I honestly think Caleb needs some rest too, dude. Like, he's been on that injury report with that Achilles for a while. We saw what happened with the hyperextended knee. And I think it actually would be a good thing for Caleb Martin to get a little bit of rest. I feel like he is the guy on this team out of anybody. Like, if you told me who can just, out of the main players, Jimmy, Kyle, Tyler, Bam, I would say, hey, out of everybody else, who can you just plug in? And everybody's kind of really done a good job at this, but I feel like Caleb Martin is especially capable of, like, we'll just plop him in. He's going to play as hard as possible. He's going to defend his ass off. He's going to probably posterize somebody, hit a couple threes. That's going to be his night in 18 minutes. That's what he's going to give us. So I really do think it's important that they go out there and they give him a little bit of rest. They get himself right. The other interesting storyline I think you continue to see this week, because you have games against 2 stinkers. First of all, don't lose. I might say that like many times on this. Don't you lose to the Pistons and Thunder. Don't do it. Especially with multiple days off. Don't lose to those teams, all right? But I think this is an important week for Victor Oladipo and Markieff Morris, but I think especially Oladipo, because you continue to get him into these, a little bit of a low-pressure situation, let him flourish a little bit, maybe flirt with, give him a couple more minutes, and see how he looks, see how things go for him. I talked to Erik Spoelstra about this yesterday. I was at practice, boots on the ground. And I asked Erik Spoelstra, because I was curious with Vic. Like, you talk about a guy who's a former all-star player, right? A lot of these all-star players, you get into a rhythm of the game. You think of a guy like Jimmy Butler, he kind of knows when to pick his spots, when to go. Tyler Hero, he's supposed to be a little bit more like, red light, green light, go as soon as he gets in. But you see a guy like Kyle Lowry, picks his spots, Bam Adebayo. These guys have time to establish themselves, and Vic has been in that position before. So what is it going to be like now that he's in this spot where it's just 15 minutes, maybe 18, maybe 20? How hard can he go? I don't necessarily think that Victor Oladipo is a guy who won't play hard because he defends his ass off, but like, what do they want these minutes to look like for him? These 7-minute bursts, these 2 7-minute bursts that he's going to have. They used to have this saying with the young guys last year, especially a guy like Precious Achiuwa, they're like, we want him to empty the tank. They kept trying to put into his mind, empty the tank, empty the tank, empty the tank. Play as hard as you can. And I was curious from Erik Spoelstra's standpoint, do they feel like that with a guy like Vic?
So for Vic, do you want him going these 15 minutes as you're working him back? Do you want him just going like full out as hard as possible, or do you want him like still being in the flow of the player that he maybe was when he got?
I mean, if you're talking about like, hey, come down and shoot it every single time, no, like that's not it. He's got to play winning basketball that fits our style of play, and he's a smart player. He's an experienced player. Obviously, he's incredibly talented. We're really excited about his skill set that he can bring to help us on both sides. He's just a true two-way player. But it's going to take some time, and I'm aware of that, and I'm willing to do it. And I keep on going back to it. The perspective is this is a big-time win, just him being out there and playing in these games and being able to bounce back and have a great practice like today.
So, a couple things. One, yes, that was Bam Adebayo screaming, D-boy! In the back. D-P-O-Y! D-boy! In the background. First team. To shed light on that, boots on the ground. He was going one-on-one drills with Ömer Yurtseven. And was really going hard on him, which is what they want to do. They're basically doing shot clock drills, which is like you have Malik Allen, who's basically just going 3, 2, 1. They got to get a shot off at the end of the shot clock and see how it goes and see what if they can get the shot in or not. So Bam obviously wasn't going easy on the young big man, even though the Bam I believe is the rookie big man, I should say, and really was just talking a lot of smack to Ömer. And it's good. I think it's fun. That's a fun thing I love going about to these practices. Like I love seeing the interactions with these guys. I love seeing them kind of banty about with each other. And you don't get to see like scrimmage or anything like that, but you saw that one-on-one drill. Jimmy working out a little bit. Caleb Martin was doing some work after practice, didn't practice. And you saw Vic and Markieff Morris doing some work in the middle court, kind of like where the main court is. You walk in there, you see Pat Riley, you see the brain trust there, right? It's Pat, it's Andy, Pat and Spo dapping each other up. Jimmy comes over, little fist bump there. Ruth Riley Hunt is there breaking down the numbers. It's all happening for him, baby. It really is. It really is all happening for him. But yeah, Bam's in the background. There's just DPOY. First team. Just trying to give Ömer the business. Who, I would say if Ömer Yurtseven wants to score on Bam, just show him one of your Instagram photos, bro. Like, just blind him with your beauty. And I feel like, how are you not going to be captain? Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Ömer. Woo. So that was fun to see. But yeah, to Spo's point, like, he doesn't want him to go, I think, like, he doesn't have to go in there, like, gunning like a Philly cheese or something like that. I think they do want him to play a little bit within himself. They know that he's a two-way player. And I don't think that we've really seen Vic try and force anything. I do feel like he's been a very willing passer, which he's been in his career. I feel like we've seen a guy who's tried to really step in and not break the chemistry at all, which has been cool to see. Like, the guy doesn't feel like, other than the noticeability of Gabe Vincent getting fewer minutes if everybody plays, or Max Strus getting fewer minutes if everybody plays. Like, I do feel like this is one of those things where they know the potential the guy can bring in the playoffs. And this was kind of what I was talking about with the Goran Dragic thing. Like, I love Gabe Vincent. I love everything that he's brought. That one play that he had against the Wolves where he picked the dude's pocket and does like the reverse layup. He has some sick stuff in his bag, dude. Gabe Vincent, he really does. And Max Strus, we saw this, like, comes in, can light it up from downtown against the Cavaliers, just cold whenever. And that speaks to those guys. Like I said, like, I think Caleb Martin is a guy who can do that, but those guys have been doing it too all year. And it really, really speaks to how great this team has been, really up and down from the depth perspective, and guys encouraging each other and keeping those positive vibes. But, look, I'm not breaking any news to anybody when I say Victor Oladipo is a more decorated player than those guys. And if right, feels like he could definitely provide a huge secret weapon for the Miami Heat if he does get things right. I don't think they're going to force it upon. Like, if he starts looking like a shell of himself, I think then that's when you go to Gabe and you go to Max, and we'll see what they got in the playoffs, and we'll see what they got in the playoffs. But for this, I think that it's cool just having him in these limited pieces and seeing what he can do and what he can provide for this Miami Heat team. The one interesting thing, though, was watching Ömer, I will say, is I do wonder if Erik Spoelstra watches Dwayne Dedmon, who's had a little bit of a struggle offensively lately. I do wonder, and I know that's not all he's there for. He's certainly there for rebounding, and he's certainly there for blocking shots. And we've seen some really, really good moments from that from Dwayne. But he's had those butterfingers around the rim lately. Like, it's almost getting to Warden level. And I do wonder for the mechanic. I wonder if it does continue to be a struggle. Does Erik Spoelstra divert it all and go to O? Just to kind of, and especially a week like this, you know, you're taking on some teams that you should handle comfortably. Does that provide any minutes for Ömer Yurtseven, or is it just strictly, hey, if Dwayne Dedmon is in foul trouble, that's when you're going to play? I don't know. It'll be an interesting thing to see, because we've certainly seen with Miami against teams that are big. We saw the rebound discrepancy that was against Phoenix. You know, it's been an uneven homestand so far. It has been. And, you know, you're 3-2. Don't lose. Close this out 5-2. Don't lose. And you did lose those 2 games without Jimmy Butler. But for me, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, all right, looking all around, what are the roster issues? What are the things you're concerned about? I would say big concerns right now. Biggest concern for me, what's the deal with Jimmy Butler's toe? Like, is this going to be a thing? When is this thing going to flare up? How good is he? Is this just maintenance program? Is he going to be fine? They're so mysterious with injuries. That's number 1. Number 2, yeah, I would say is Dwayne. Like, where is he at right now? And is there some tinkering that goes on there? 3 is probably Kyle Lowry. Shot selection. How many is he going to go with? When is he going to kick it into gear? Is he going to kick it into gear? And then, you know, can this team be just more consistent 48 minutes throughout, especially when it feels like, man, they got a death grip on something? No, this is a league where there's 3-point shots and all that type of stuff, but man, seeing those things wilt away can be very, very frustrating when they continue to happen. So we'll see. I'll be boots on the ground tonight against the Heat and Pistons, and we'll kind of react to it tomorrow. Hope you guys can catch us on the radio show from 6 to 10 a.m. And Heat Pistons, man, bro, don't lose to the Pistons. Don't lose.